What's going on, everyone? So, the other day, we got the first look at Christian Wood in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. And obviously, the Lakers didn't go according to plan. We ended up losing the first preseason game. It's preseason. Not really worried about it. It's not really about the wins and losses. We didn't have LeBron James, didn't have Austin Reeves. Anthony Davis only played like 13 minutes. D'Lo only played like 15 minutes, right? It was more so of like the other guys. And some guys had great showings, such as like Max Christie looked fantastic. And then some guys not so much, right? Christian Wood was one of the guys that could have been better. He had some nice moments. He had a couple nice defensive sequences, which is what you really want to see. But as far as the offensive side goes, he was a little rough. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 of 8 from the field. But if you actually watch that game, he shouldn't have went 2 of 8 from the field because there was 3 or 4 attempts that he took where he just got clobbered. And there was no call, no whistle, no nothing. The refs were really letting the Lakers play, but they weren't letting the Warriors, right? If the Warriors even got blue on, that whistle was being blown. And nonetheless, again, preseason, not going to get too much into it. It was a mess altogether. I mean, even that .06, right before the start of the third quarter, like what was that really? Like that really made a difference. And D'Lo made a half-court heave, so why didn't that count, right? There was just so many things that were just really, the refs hopefully will be better during the regular season. But with Christian Wood, right, again, didn't have a great showing. But one of the things that a lot of people really pointed out and questioned was the way he looked physically. It looked like he had a little bit of a little extra weight on him, right? Like he was a little out of shape. And he moved pretty well, right? Like he wasn't like super sluggish or anything like that. I mean, he's not like a super quick, hyper athlete guy. He's got some good skills. Like we saw that one Kaminga block where he was able to chase out, run out, and actually get a hand on the ball. But he's not a guy that's like, crazy hyper athlete. But I thought he was moving pretty fluidly for the most part. But there was clearly a guy that is usually very slim down, looked like he had a little bit of a fun patch, right? He looked like a guy that had a couple tacos before the game. And, that could be a multitude of things. One, maybe the Lakers asked him to do that because he's going to play center. Or maybe he took it upon himself to do that because he's going to play center. Right? It's also very possible that it's going to take him a little while to kind of get into game shape. You got to remember, he was doing whatever he was doing before the Lakers signed him. The hope is that he was working out and getting some reps up, running some drills, doing whatever, doing something to kind of keep in-game shape. But it's also very possible that he was limited in what he could do, right? Like, for example, when you saw Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and all those guys, they signed super early. They were all immediately able, because now they are officially Lakers, are able to use the Lakers facility in the offseason to work out, train, and get into shape, right? But Christian Wood didn't have a team. So he can't go to the Lakers facility. He couldn't go to the Houston facility because he's technically not a Houston Rocket. He's a free agent. So that could be another thing that impacted him as far as this offseason went. And so maybe he's kind of using training camp and preseason to kind of get back into game shape, which we've seen some people do. Now, I don't mind him having a little bit of weight on him because his biggest flaw is lack of strength for a guy that's, 6'10", right? He is best suited at the power forward position, but if he is going to play some center, him having a little extra weight to not just get bullied as much might not be a bad thing, but you also don't want it to affect his game and his play style. Now, I don't really again, I thought Christian Wood was fine. He wasn't good, he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. Right? He had his struggles or whatever, but so did pretty much everybody not named Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and Max Christie. right? Like even Rui had 12 points, but he was 5 of 12 from the field. You'd like to see him be a little more efficient in that regard. Jared Vanderbilt had some nice moments. Like there was several guys that looked really good. Like Jackson Hayes, I thought was a real standout and had some really nice moments. But like Torian Prince, I mean, he looked completely unplayable. He fouled out in like 12 minutes of play or whatever. He had 5 fouls in the first like 6 minutes he was in the game. Again, Cam Reddish was really rough. And again, you can't put too much stock into the first preseason game. You got, nerves, you got jitters, you got, guys trying to figure stuff out. You're missing your 2 main playmakers, and your other playmaker only played 15 minutes. So you don't have that fluid, free-flowing offense that you will in the regular season if all those guys are playing, because you're probably always going to have a D'Lo, an Austin Reeves, or a LeBron James on the court. So you don't want to be in a position like we saw where Gabe Vincent only played 20 minutes. So your 2 point guards only played 36 minutes of basketball in a 48-minute game, right? And then, you had JHS, Jalen Hood-Schifino, but he was not really trying to set guys up, right? He got a little kind of caught up in the glitz and the glamour of trying to show like, oh, I can go score with the best of them, right? And kind of got caught up in some of those matchups against the Warriors. So I do think that once we get the actual playmakers involved, and we'll see today's game if we get that, like, does LeBron play? I don't expect it, right? Like Austin Reeves and LeBron James, at the time of recording this video, we have no information, but don't be surprised if those two end up sitting out again. Don't be surprised if Anthony Davis sits out, right? I wouldn't be shocked with that at all. Again, it's preseason. They're trying to get, Darvin Ham very likely is trying to get looks at the other guys. You know what LeBron James is going to give you. You know what Austin Reeves is going to give you, right? I mean, you know what Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell are going to give you, right? What does a Max Christie give you? What does a, Christian Wood give you? What does a Jackson Hayes and a Cam Reddish and a Jalen Hood-Schifino and all these other guys? What do the other guys provide to you and offer you besides the usual suspects, right? Like even Gabe Vincent, I expect him to kind of get back into the flow of things a little bit. He was 2 of 4 from 3. We did shoot the 3 ball well, and I actually think we're going to be a pretty good 3-point shooting team. Like, genuinely, I do. I don't think we'll be great. I don't think we'll be elite, but I think we'll be somewhere in like the middle of the pack. But it came down to just not being able to buy buckets, right? As far as like the game itself went, right? Even Christian Wood, it was just the shot wasn't falling. He had a couple that were like right there that just he usually hits that just didn't hit. And I do understand some people's concerns. Again, you saw Christian Wood and you're used to seeing him kind of slim and ready to go. And he just kind of had that, little kangaroo pouch there. And, I don't put too much into it. And we don't know for sure, right? It's just kind of going off of like some footage. And I was trying to find like images of Christian Wood that game and just trying to see if like there was any clear like moments where it's like, oh yeah, okay, he clearly is one way or another. But I couldn't really find any key moments. Again, there was a couple moments throughout the game that looked like, all right, he's got a little food in the belly. But again, I don't like that could be several reasons. And it could just be that he's just trying to work it off, right? Which I don't mind. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? And as long as it's not impacting him and affecting him in a sense of like, he can't really play the game of basketball, right? To the level that we know he could play. Then he's got to slim down and get into it. But, anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What did you think? Did you think like, yeah, he did look a little different than usual? He looked like he had a little bit of a gut, or did you think like, no, he looked pretty normal to me? It's just something that I saw a lot of people calling out, and I kind of noticed it too a little bit. But I don't, at least right now, I don't think it's anything concerning, right? We get a better outing from him and everybody, right? I hope we just get a better overall game And it's not, to me, it's not so much about the wins and losses. I don't care whether we lose every game or win every game. I don't really care. It's what do we look like? What are the habits that we're building? What are the contexts? Again, like people are losing their minds, but completely not taking into account that LeBron James, Austin Reeves didn't play. Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell only played basically the first quarter, and then we basically ran all of like the young guys against the Warriors starters and basically their entire playoff rotation, right? Like that's a big difference. But again, how do you feel? Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments.